Talks. My name is Cy Siegert. I am your host, and I am joined with Spider-Man, aka
Pittsburgh, known as Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. Do you feel comfortable sharing your secret identity with the audience, or is this?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, alright. Here we go. This is a big reveal. Oh, it's him! It's Nate! It's a Nate cameo! Wow! Round of applause for Nathan, Mr. Nate. So you got your cup there and all ready to go for today's episode. Nate and I are hitting a squat session, and I think this is a Spider-Man Squat Day special. So, Squat Spidey Special. That's what this episode is called. So we're just gonna get into this kind of like Q&A. I'm gonna ask you your top 5 Spider-Men, Spider people. Not in any order, but actually they can be in order because I know that you have a very particular ranking.
Spider-Man or Spider?
No, anybody with spider powers. So.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously number 1 is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. That's just nostalgia, OG, him being him, literal him. First Spider-Man. And then in no specific order after number 1, I'm going to have to go with Miles, animated Miles. Spider-Gwen, with that hype and those movies coming out. Man, I just love that duo. Excited to see the 3rd movie. And then I'd have to go with Andrew and Tom. I know that feels really, really simple and plain, but those are my top 5.
Pretty solid top 5. I feel like that's like a majority of people's top 5 right there, which, definitely I wouldn't say is like overly cliche. I feel like those characters deserve the hype, especially after the new Spider-Verse movie. I mean, like, need I say more? Sheesh. Okay, moving on for me. Okay, honestly, and I'm gonna go with like where I'm at right now because my ranking, like tier lists of characters, I feel like always changes, but right now I'm gonna have to put Miguel O'Hara at number 1 for Spider-Man, Spider people.
Spidey 29.
Okay, first of all, being able to like travel the multiverse and just do that like whenever is really pretty sweet. It's a pretty cool thing. His suit also, I really like the way his suit is in not even just this movie, but like in the old video games. It's just like really cool. It's like got this like Batman Beyond kind of aesthetic to me. I don't know.
Vibe.
He's just like this vamp in the night. But yeah, I'd have to say Spider-Man 2099, number 1 for me. Number 2, I'm gonna say Miles right now, just because I feel like he literally has the world, like everybody's all odds against him, and I mean,
everyone.
Yeah, it's just like
literally watch a movie.
Yeah, after these like 2 Spider-Verse films, I can pretty confidently say that I feel like he's gonna go down as like one of the best Spider-Men like ever. So yeah, Miles at 2, and his suit. I like his suit. It's cool. I'm a fan of the red stripe going down the armpits.
Leading from the armpits?
Yeah, he gets some slack for that, but I think his suit's cool.
I think multiple people say it.
Yeah. Number 3, I'm gonna say Andrew. I'm gonna say Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Also, his suit is really cool. Even though, honestly, I really like Tobey's suit the most out of nostalgia, and I don't know, it looks good. But that goes for like almost every Spider-Man suit in my opinion.
Oh man.
But Andrew's is really cool. I like how it's like super. I like how his suit has like the super long like Spider-Man like spider logo, and then like eye goggles are just like. That's another thing I like about Miles' suit, like the eye goggles being like larger. I don't know. That's just kind of neat. But so yeah, Andrew's Spider-Man at 3, 4 Tobey, which I don't know. This is like gonna really sound contradictive, but I would say Tobey is the GOAT for establishing the character of Spider-Man within cinema and pop culture. We don't have Andrew Spider-Man. We don't have the Spider-Verse. We don't have any of this without him. So. I think it's just just putting some respect on your boy's name, but for me right now he's just kind of like lower in that top 5, but he's still in the top 5, so goes to show you. And then number 5, I'm gonna have to say Spider-Gwen as well. I think her suit is awesome. As you can see, I've been ranking this list off of suit designs, just because I really do. I don't know. I factor that in like every time with every superhero, but and her like theme song in the new Spider-Verse movie, so cool.
Self-love.
That's a good song. That soundtrack.
Great song.
Metro Boomin, he
10
went
out of
off,
10.
and Coi Leray, she sings
I was
that
gonna
one.
say
Yeah.
too, the honorable mention that I don't know if it's the 80s or the 90s, but that you'll edit it in.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that
I'll get a picture.
the
of
one
it,
on
so-
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Man, that Spider-Man, it's awesome. It talks about the multiverse way before the multiverse is a thing. So
cool.
that's with like Madam Web and all that. I don't know. You'll get it up there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I watched a few of those episodes.
it's simple. It has like the classic, like Doc Ock
Yeah.
like suit. And
It's
all
pretty,
that.
yeah. It's cool. That is cool how like a lot of this newer Spider-Verse lore stems from like shows like that. The designs in that animated series are like I feel like some of the most popular for
Oh,
like
yeah.
the characters.
Like Doc, definitely my favorite. Like they were almost gonna make the No Way Home. You sent me the
Oh,
concept art.
yeah,
It was
No
like
Way
the
Home.
exact same thing.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen, her and Miles, I feel like have like very similar character arcs too. So it is really cool to see them kind of like go through this struggle of kind of being on their own in a way. A lot of these characters from the Spider-Verse movie. I mean, just kind of goes to show you how much I like that movie and how popular it is. I think it's safe to say, but
I'd say a really good character out of that, just that franchise too, is just the like Peter that lost his way.
yeah,
That was awesome.
Peter B.
For
Peter
him,
B.
for him to
He's a guy.
mentor Miles and then also like want a child because of Miles.
Yeah.
It really just makes just the little things in the movies that
Yeah.
just like go a long way.
Yeah, his character progression makes a lot of sense for Peter Parker, and it's cool to see because we don't really get to see that with like Andrew or Toby's Spider-Man, like them have a family, but we get to see that with Peter B. Parker, so we're throwing him up on the list. But yeah, moving on, we're gonna do top 3 Spider-Man villains. I'm gonna go first since I'm already talking, but 3, I'm going to say the Rhino, just because rhinos are my favorite animal, and I've always thought like his look is cool because I like rhinos, so I'm hoping we get to see him more in live action. We kind of saw him at the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but that was kind of like I wasn't a big fan of that mech suit. It was interesting, but
Interesting concept.
yeah, it was an interesting concept, but I don't know. I'd like to see a more comic accurate
Yeah, I
version
don't know how you
of
would
him.
go about that though, like live action with Rhino. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a way to figure that out, but
Yeah.
it would be hard.
Yeah.
It would be awesome to see someday for
Yeah,
sure.
hopefully someday. Yeah. Number 2, I'm gonna say Doc Ock. He's that guy. I forget his name, the actor's name. Yeah, Doc Ock, good character. Spider-Man 2. It's obviously goes without saying one of the best Spider-Man films to date. And then number 1, it's gonna have to be your boy Willem Dafoe, aka the Green Goblin. What can I say? His performance really kind of sells it in the movies, and he himself is just basically Spider-Man's Joker, which I feel like is a pretty good metaphor to kind of like frame the importance of his character within the lore, like the mask and everything, and how he's like talking to the mask and he hears his voices like in the mask.
Coward. We have a new world to conquer. You make me sick.
Leave me alone, please.
Hiding in the shadows.
It's really well done and interesting, and it's cool how they they go off on that. They keep using that narrative in No Way Home, staying true to that character, and like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like in the Phase 4 Marvel, he's one of the best villains that we've seen thus far. It goes to show you like just the stature of Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. So yeah, that's my top 3 villains.
All right, here we go. 3, Doc Ock. That's just, I mean, you've already said it, but I just love the way like the 90s show represents him with his little just octopus things that's controlling him. Man, it's awesome. And then 2, Green Goblin. It's a hard to say that he's not one in my mind, with how like his appearance in No Way Home, on top of him being the original, with his son technically being the Green Goblin as well. you know, and all that. Being Harry, trying to follow his footsteps. One always has been, always will be Venom. Venom,
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3, not the greatest
Yeah.
adaptation of him at all by any means. Hands down the best villain.
You're saying probably like the newer Venom
Well,
from the newer movies, or do you just mean in
the
general?
ideology of him and like the character,
Yeah.
I think is the best.
Mhm.
Just having that
Across the
alien,
board, yeah.
alienated symbiote come down and just take control like a parasite, but like not a parasite.
Yeah.
It's just, I've always thought that was awesome. Toby, you know, his third movie, just him just being a, I don't know, not so much Toby, not Spider-Man because of it,
Mhm.
and just having that bully Maguire
Mhm.
is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. It is cool. I mean, like, you could argue that that version of Venom is a villain because, you know, when
Oh, yeah.
when he takes hold of Peter Parker, he really does like alter his mind state and kind of like perpetrates a more like villainous kind of agenda in his mind. You know, he literally infects him.
And then also that's just comes down to that is just, I don't know what it is, if it's because I went to an opening night in IMAX when I was like
That's
7 or
cool.
8, and
That's
I can't even remember, but
In IMAX.
yeah, IMAX.
That's
Spider-Man
cool.
3,
Wow.
I remember my mom called into like a radio station and we won tickets, or she won the tickets, and then I remember just like going to the movie in IMAX. I just remember like going into the theater, it was like, look at this spaceship, holy cow, like it's just everywhere. And then it's just filled with just Spider-Man, the whole 2 hour, 2:15 minutes. It was, yeah, I don't know, that just always stick with me. I don't know, I'll be 22 years old here soon, and that's still like core memory,
Core memory.
and never forget.
Canon event, would you say?
Canon.
For sure. Yeah. I love, there's so many, like, I know people dog Spider-Man 3 and they love to trash it sometimes, but it's just a
Oh.
classic. I mean,
it is it's corny. It's corny. There's parts that are bad.
Eddie Brock praying on Peter's downfall. He's literally praying to God. He's like, well,
There's a lot of, cinematically, a lot of parts where you're just like, what's going on here? But like at the end of the day, it gets the point across, and having Harry come back, and I mean, if you haven't seen Spider-Man 3, sorry for the spoilers, but Harry coming back and saving MJ and Peter's life at the end is like foreshadowing before in the movie where he said, "Oh, I would save their lives, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'd put my life on the line to save those guys. They're my
It's a
best
real-
friends."
it's a
And
real
it's like,
one, yeah.
it makes you think about your best friends in life, and it's like, oh,
Facts.
I would do that. I
Facts.
would do that for them.
Let's
as well.
go. That's what I feel like it is. Unfortunately, he dies. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
spoiler, but it's very redemptive of his character for
Oh.
how his dad he didn't let his dad's villainous legacy, you know, take over his life.
And then you also go back to like, I mean, the older movies too. Like, you can't really blame Harry for having the thoughts and the actions that he has, because look how he was growing up. I mean, his dad was he really even there? Green Goblin running all the Oscorp and all that. Like, he never really was that father. And you kind of get that along with like the Amazing Spider-Man throwing that in there, just like never
Yeah.
having his dad around, how
Oh,
he
yeah.
actually like
The
took
Amazing
care of
Spider-Man
him.
2, the
Yeah.
sequel. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's not how all variants would be, but like it gives you a good idea of how William Dafoe's Green Goblin would take care of like Harry, you know? As like, obviously
Yeah.
that relationship wasn't built, but you can still tell like Harry is like, that's my dad, don't you talk about him that way. When I can't remember if it was in the first one or first one where he just said something out of line to MJ, and it's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. He definitely was like, he was looking out for the people he cared about and loved, which I think is like, yeah, it's a core part of his character. Spider-Man 3, not a bad movie, if you ask me. Not a bad Spider-Man
Good film.
movie. It's a-
Good film.
I'd definitely say it's at least a guilty pleasure superhero movie. And on to Spider-Man movies. We're gonna finish off this Q&A by ranking our top 3 in order. So I'll go first here. I'm gonna have to go at number 1 right now. I'm gonna have to say Across the Spider-Verse. I feel like I'm in a year or whenever Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, I'm gonna say that's my favorite. To me, it's not recency bias. It's been like a few months already. Actually, it's been like 2 months almost since it's come out.
Yeah, two or three.
Yeah, and it's just aging better, honestly. The first one's great, but this one is just so, like, all the odds are against Miles, and he still just finds a way, and it's just, it really is like, okay, that's pretty cool.
And just cinematically, I feel as if like
beautiful.
you could get someone that doesn't watch animated movies, doesn't watch animated TV shows, and if they were to actually sit down and watch it, you could get them hooked on animated TV shows and such, and movies, just of how good it is and how you can tell a story through animation. Like,
That's one of the reasons those movies take so long to produce, is because like every frame is like literally, it's just like a work of art. It's crazy.
I mean, the Lego Kid, like, what was
Yeah,
that? That was like
that's
last
cool.
second added into that,
Yeah.
because
That's another reason that's like my favorite, just because it's like they're involving all these different artists, and like you've got like a 14-year-old kid making stop motion animation within this like huge big budget blockbuster, and just all the characters, and seeing like so many spider people in that universe, and like how they're able to travel the multiverse, the Spider-Verse. Yeah, and the cliffhanger too.
I just remember
it's-
watching
yeah.
that, and I'm like, it's gonna end here soon. It's
Yeah.
gonna end here soon. And then I knew it was coming. And then there it was. I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man.
So we gotta wait however long for the next
That's
one,
okay.
but
though.
yeah.
We'll get it.
anyway, number 2, I'm gonna say Into the Spider-Verse. As you can see, I am a pretty big Miles Morales fan. I really do like his Spider-Man, and just his origin story. I feel like it's so well written, and it really speaks to the audience well, because I feel like the audience is really able to like relate to Miles all the much more than Peter Parker, because Miles is a lot like us. He's read comics of Spider-Man. He's grown up with this like hero figure in society being Spider-Man, and now, you know, his story is like, oh, now this torch has been passed to me. It's just really cool to see how they accentuate that origin story comic book sort of like storyline in that movie with the visuals. I mean, it's like a moving comic book, those movies are. So yeah, those movies, great. Number 3 for me, I really enjoy The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Some of those slow motion scenes are just so cool, like Electro in Times Square that first time. I mean, that's just like, that really kind of makes that movie like all the more entertaining to watch. Albeit a lot of people, that's again another Spider-Man movie that has a lot of gripes with the fan base and audiences, although I really do enjoy watching it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to put that at my number 3.
Alright. If I were to say 3 without order, Spider-Man 3, No Way Home, and then Across the Spideyverse. And
pretty
that
solid.
might be in order, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in order. That's in order.
Spider-Man 3, number 1?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I feel like there'll be maybe some Spider-Man diehards in the comments. If Spider-Man 3 is your favorite, comment down below.
Let's go,
And
Toby.
we need to put some respect on Toby's trilogy. Without Toby, there's no
I feel
Andrew.
like that's what started
There's
the
no
whole,
Miles. There's no.
That's like what started the whole MCU. Not a part of the MCU, but like, you got the reaction of him. I was like, oh yeah, we can make these superhero films, and this is like, people do start liking these. And like at the end of the Spider-Man 3, you got Iron Man. Iron Man obviously went into Captain America, and then 20 years later, or 10, 15 years
Yeah,
later,
I mean, now the MCU, like phase 50 or whatever. I don't know. Spider-Man, he's the GOAT. And this is coming from a DC fan too. I've had to reconcile with some of my bias being a DC fan, but Superman's my GOAT. But I mean, I think Spider-Man's at number 2. My top 3 superheroes have been like always mixed around between like Superman, Nightwing, Batman, Spider-Man, but I mean, just as more and more Spider-Man films come out, he just keeps solidifying like a top spot. Even though Superman is my personal favorite superhero, I would say I feel like Spider-Man is just the best written superhero in comics and in movies. Like, you know, all the different variants are just very relatable. Peter Parker is very relatable. I mean, that's literally how Stan Lee created the character, was just trying to find some young guy that kids and teenagers could relate with. And yeah, look at the board now. We got like all these Spider-Man movies and plenty more to
I
come.
just feel as if like Spider-Man, out of all superheroes growing up for me, and I feel for like a lot of people, and why they fall in love with Spider-Man, is just that you get the parts where he has nothing and he is at his lowest, and he just really doesn't want to go anymore. And people don't like talking about those times, and they don't like to even express their feelings like that, and if they don't like letting people know when they're that down that bad. But through all of that, he puts a smile on his face, and he still helps people that maybe doesn't even deserve the help. And there are people that deserve the help, but he just goes and he does it. He does his job, and he has his job, and he treats everyone the same, the way they should be treated.
Amen. That's facts. Yeah, that's like one of the coolest part of his character is just his selflessness, and with great power comes great responsibility. And even though like that's something that's like written in comic books and it's said by a fictional character, it surely has like influenced generations and continues to do so. Rest in peace, Uncle Ben. Rip.
And Aunt May.
Yeah, for
Rip.
real. Yeah.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, thank you for joining me, Spider-Man.
I'll just go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's the Spider-Man of Pittsburgh, by the way, not New York. That's his variant. It's his Pittsburgh Spider-Man. That's why he's got the Pittsburgh Cup. But yeah, thank you for watching this episode of Gym Talks. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, or don't. Really don't care, but thank you for watching the
Alright.
video. Yeah,
I'm just here to have fun.
we're here to hang. We're just
here so we don't get fined.
we're just hanging around, we're out here. But yeah, appreciate it. And we'll catch you in the next one. And always remember, with great power
Comes great responsibility.